So today's video, we're going to be talking about my Big Brother experience. For those of you who are just logging on or don't know about me, I competed in a pretty awesome show this summer called Big Brother, and I came in third. This video is going to be talking about my entire experience in the house and laying out my strategy as how I got from guest 16 to top 3. So stay tuned. Okay, so I want to say a couple things before starting this video. One is that I'm giving you the information that I saw in my head while I was in the house. I've tried my best to make sure that I'm not being biased, that I'm not trying to paint myself in a better light or trying to make my game better or anything like that. I want to try and best as possible just to give you what was going on inside my head when I was making all the decisions that I made, from being, in the house at 16 guests and finally getting to final 3. And one question away from possibly winning $750,000. Yeah. 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 Anyway, alright, so let's do this. So, I'm going to split this into sections because that's how my brain thought while I was in the house. Section 1 is pre-jury. Section 2, what is that sound? What is tapping? Bruh, there's something tapping and I don't even know. My bad. Sorry about that. So section 1, bruh, come on. Sorry. Section 1 is pre-jury. Everything from week 1 to week 5. Section 2 is jury. So everything from when we were at the 9 members of jury to when we got to 6. And then section 3 is going to be from 6 to 3. And then section 4 will be final 3. That's kind of how I saw the game in my head and how I laid it out. So I feel that's the best way to be able to do it. So let's start from the beginning. Okay, now let me tell you what I said when I got in this house, okay? So I was going to come in as, I was going to win all the comps. I was going to be that alpha female. I was going to form an alliance called the Kingslayers, and they're going to all be women. And we're going to rock it. We're going to kill it. We're going to be winning competitions week to week. I was like, yeah, you know what? Like, I know what this game is about. You know, you have to manipulate people, and like, that's fine or whatever. I'm going to do it. I'll do it, whatever. That's the mentality I came in when I got in the house. Now, my other mentality when I came in too, I wanted to target the person who won the first HOH. So I knew that usually that person ends up being able to set themselves up for the entire season. Because I am a Big Brother super fan. I've seen all the seasons. I watch the live feeds. I am actually like huge Big Brother fan, and really honestly a huge fan of old school Big Brother, more than the new school. But that was my mentality coming in. I was like, all right, we're going to go ahead. I want to form a female alliance. Go ahead and make sure to target the first person who wins of HOH. And I'm going to grab men by the balls. That's what I said I was going to do. Now, what else did I say in my intro video? I said I live the boy crazy. Remember? I did. I make great decisions as long as men aren't involved. I didn't say that. I did. But you know what? We're going to talk more as we get through. And we're going to see if at the end of this video you still feel I made the right decisions. So let's get back to the first day. I come in and I mean, I couldn't believe I was there, but what was more awesome was I was like, dang, there's 6 of us. That's pretty darn dope. And I do remember Big D going around and gathering people, and he kept on saying, POCs, we gotta stick together, POCs, we have to stick together, POCs. And I literally told him, I was like, don't say that. They might not like that. And when I said they, I meant, what I'm talking about. The greater powers that be. I was nervous. I was really nervous because I was like, dang. And then I knew X came up with a name. He told me he came up with it. So that's why, and I'm just saying what it is in the house, that's why I thought that it was started by them. And I was super excited, and I felt at that time it was an agreement like, all right, it was kind of like what happened in season 21 where I was like, okay, I'm never going to vote you off the block. And I was like, this is great. I got this that I'm working with here. I need to find my girls to go ahead and start the Kingslayers so we can go ahead and make this thing poppin'. Now, HOH wins happened. Frenchie won. Frenchie picked me. I was like, well, dang. Okay, so I can't target him. You know. Later that day, probably day 2, you know, these targets were changing all over the place and things like that. And I was so exasperated because the air in the house was just a frenzy of people not knowing if they were going to be next. I couldn't even I didn't realize how emotional I was going to be walking in this house, and the only thing that gave me some sort of comfort was just reading my Bible on my bed. So I just banked it in my room. You know, when Kylan ended up being on the block, I was like, dang, because I really did not expect that to happen. And, you know, I knew what needed to be done in terms of us making sure to pull together, that, you know, he could be saved. I spent a lot of time in the back room because, 1, I was safe for the first week. 2, I kind of was shut out from a lot of Frenchie's conversations. I think because when I started giving him game information and he was kind of talking to other people about it, I realized, okay, I can't talk game with him. So I told Brittany and myself as well too, I was like, okay, don't talk game. Be very careful what you say, because I didn't want things to be linked back to me. And I just retreated in that room and just became a hermit, so different from how I was on the outside. And that's pretty much what I was dealing with in the first week. I had to really work on repairing my social image after that, because the first week, that's, you know, that's the most important week. You know, that's the week that things kind of get set and a tone gets set. But you come in the house, you have everybody is a type A person. Everybody is the life of the party in their hometown. Everybody is the person who always makes people laugh. Everybody is always the center of attention, and you put them all in one house, because I was that in my hometown too. It was so overwhelming that I felt like I needed to just back away for a little bit. I just couldn't fight these people in terms of being the biggest personality. I just knew, I was like, look, I'm going to stress myself out, so let me just keep my energy and sit in the back. So that's what I did. That's what I did. That's when I formed the Kingslayers. So I was connecting with Tiffany a lot. I was connecting with Brittany. I was connecting with Claire. And I saw that in the house, they seemed to be the most level-headed and not wishy-washy with whatever Frenchie was doing. And I really wanted to make sure that people who I work with would be people who are loyal, because loyalty is a very powerful currency in this game. Loyalty, trust, and power. So I formed the Kingslayers that week. And when Frenchie was getting ready to end his HOH, he gathered us all together, all the girls, and now I'm seeing it's the people who weren't in the slaughterhouse, but I didn't know about the slaughterhouse at the time, so I'm not going to say that. He gathered all the girls together pretty much and said, oh, let's have a girls' alliance. And it was Claire that was there, it was Tiffany that was there, and I was like, bruh. I was like, no, because I knew that if I ended up being a part of this, no information was going to be kept in that group. It was going to spread, because I love Frenchie, but Frenchie can't hold water. I just felt like that was going to mess up my game, because those people who were in that alliance, we could talk game with each other and things like that, but I didn't feel comfortable discussing game with Frenchie, who couldn't hold water. Love him, he on my team, but he couldn't hold water. You know what I'm saying? So that was the end of that week. Those are the 2 things I would say that come to mind dealing at the end of week 1. Oh, one more thing I want to say. From that week, while I was in my bed, I still felt like I could see all the social navigating that was going around the house. I noticed Brent, you know, when Frenchie stopped talking to me, Brent was up there every single day up to 4 a.m. at night. And I shared the room with Brent, so I would know what time he'd come back, because I had trouble sleeping in the house. And I was like, dang, like and I remember Frenchie had told me day 1 that Brent was his target. Brent went from being Frenchie's target to being his #1 man. And I was like, okay, I feel like that needs to be a target that needs to get out. And I started talking amongst the Kingslayers and started talking amongst the cookout too, not knowing that some of the people in the cookout were allied with him. With Whitney, I noticed that too as well. I was like, okay, I saw that she was up there every single day, and I was like, all right, these are the 2 people that I would probably need to make sure somehow or some way ends up leaving and is a target. So that's was my first week, and the two people in my head that I wanted out the house. Specifically, at least started thinking that in the first week. I'm really, really, really happy that DX is still in the house. That was also a thing I want to talk about in the week one. He had been painted as a target and had been put up as a possible backdoor option, and the house kind of shunned him. But I just liked the guy, and I was like, bruh, like, you know, I was encouraging him during that time. I really feel that that helped a lot in establishing our relationship, because of the fact that I kind of had his back when a lot of people didn't. I think it came in handy for me a lot later down the line, and even up until he left the house, we did feel, I felt like I had his back and he had my back. Week two. All right. Kylan wins HOH. I'm super excited. I'm nervous because the day after Frenchie had made that Frenchie's Kisses alliance, I started hearing rumors around the house that a girls' alliance has been formed. And I was freaking out because I'm like, okay, I hope no one knows about the Kingslayers. Now, Kylan puts me in his one-on-one the next day, and it's so funny. Like, I watch all the seasons, but I'm just a blindly loyal person. Like, I just like operate off of just like blind loyalty, and it does hit me in the butt sometimes. But I remember coming up, we laugh about this now, me and Kylan. I was like, all right, cool, you know. I had no idea he wanted to put up Brittany. I knew that Frenchie was going to probably be up. I knew that from based off of just everything around the house. And Kylan had a reason to put it up because he did put him up on the block. But I came in the HOH and I was like, how about Brent? You know, I was like, all right, Frenchie can't hold water. We know that, we know that, we know that. But okay, you need to put someone next to him. How about Brent? Bruh. And Kylan just looked at me. He was like, okay, all right. And he did ask me about Brittany, and I was like, oh, Brittany is very loyal. Now, when I said her loyal, I might have shot myself in the foot by saying that about Brittany. I meant that Brittany was loyal to me, but I think Kylan thought I meant Brittany was loyal to Frenchie. What Kylan didn't know was that Brittany had stopped talking game with Frenchie like that, at least from my knowledge, had stopped talking game with Frenchie like that, and also wasn't even around in any of the conversations with the Girls Alliance. The only Girls Alliance that she was in was mine that I had created. So got out my one-on-one. I was like, all right, planted the seed about Brent. And I leave the room feeling real accomplished with my life, okay? So I look at the nominations and my girl Brittany's up. And I'm like, oh, what? Huh? And that's when all these rumors were swirling about like Brittany and the Girls Alliance, and I was like, oh my God. And I had so much guilt. I want to give you guys a reasoning behind this. One thing I'm going to say is, until you're in this house and play this game, it's very easy to feel like you can make logical decisions or know you, but your body, you can't help it, that yourself comes out in this game. You can't help it, you know what I'm saying? Especially with cameras being on you 24/7. But I had immense guilt because Brittany was kind of a scapegoat in a sense, the way I thought, because I'm like, dang, I'm the one who started, you know, the Girls Alliance, and Brittany kind of is being put on the block, and I was just like, dang, dang, dang. And I felt guilty because Brittany just didn't really know like what she did or anything. And because of the fact that like I started the Girls Alliance, she didn't. She wasn't around any of the Frenchie Kisses meetings, but it was painted on her that she was. And the people who were putting her on the block were people in my alliance. I felt so much immense guilt that I feel like I kind of backpacked that on me as well. And a lot of my emotions started to come in myself in the game. Something I thought that wouldn't happen with me, they did. But it was really, really difficult. As an empath that I am, seeing someone who just kind of doesn't know what they did, or at least that's what I'm giving you guys the knowledge from what I knew in the game, you know, doesn't know what they did, put on the block, and already too was kind of having, you know, figuring out her social placement in the house already too and things. The type of person that I am, I just was like, bruh, and it got me. It got me because I was upset because I knew that Frenchie's Funhouse was a fun house. But I felt like Frenchie's actions were kind of being scapegoated on Brittany with her being on the block, and that got me real upset, as y'all saw. I also was like, dang, does Kyla not trust me? At this point, the cookout hadn't even been decided as to like if this was still real or not. It was just more of a mere agreement. With 2 people on the block in the Jokers, I was just very scared that we would just get picked off one by one. Frenchie was our strongest member. Frenchie was definitely going to be out the house by the end of that week. And I was so afraid of us being picked off one by one, especially with 2 cookout members on the team as well too. And I think survivalist mentality kind of called in or came into play with that. I saw us as Jokers here at the bottom, and I could see all the other teams, you know, moving this way and that way, creating relationships, and we kind of were here. Me and Big D had to cook out, but other than that, we didn't really have anything else, and Brittany, I don't feel had anything else either. And with me having difficulties kind of getting in the 6, stomach just growled, I was like, all right, this is what you got to do, Azah. You need to pick from each team somebody that you vibe with, build those relationships with them, and hope that those genuine relationships can surpass these alliances, that you will never come up with a target, you can still work with them. And those were specifically SB, Claire, and DX that I was like, well, I vibe with these people already, so it's not even going to be, you know, difficult or hard. And I talk game with them every week. They always knew where I lied. I always knew where they lied and things, and we had each other's back. And with those 3 people I picked, I knew pre-jury who I would like out after that order would be Whitney, Christian slash Alyssa. To me, they were both the same and interchangeable. Yeah, so Whitney, Christian slash Alyssa, those were the last 2. Because we had Travis, Frenchie, and then Brett came out. Alright, yeah, so that's a shape I had into like, okay, this is what I'd like jury to look like, because I have these great relationships with these people. I feel that, you know, as long as I keep those relationships, those could be great votes at the end as well too. I also made sure, that was a strategy that came in the house. I love cooking, and I was cooking every single day. Especially when I wasn't getting picked in competitions or winning competitions. I was like, well, you need to show that you are a fixture in this house. And I started doing family dinners. We started having dinner every single night. That's something that I put together. And I always make dinner something special. I'd lay it out beautifully and everything, as much as we could with what we had. And we all always ate together at dinner. And I did that as well to build that genuineness. I saw how that outside the house in my own family brings us together so much, and I wanted to take that in the house. It is a part of our culture too, my culture as a Cameroonian. I wanted to take that in the house, and I feel that helped me a lot. Being someone that will cook, and no matter what would happen. For example, after Brittany got nominated the first time, I cried like a baby. But I still made dinner. While my emotions do get in the way, I wanted to make sure as much as possible, everything that I wanted to set out to do, I tried to do. So whether I was crying or not, dinner was always going to get made. All right, so week 4. Now, the entire previous week, everybody had the Kings' names in their mouths. They were the only team that did not have someone go. Everybody had gotten a team member gone, and everybody was coming for the Kings that week. And then the Kings won. Christian won. And I was like, crap, because I had not built any type of game relationship with Christian. I had not built any type of game relationship with Alyssa. I'd only built a game relationship with SB. And I had even told SB the week before, I was like, yo, my noms next week, I'm probably going to put up Christian and Whitney. So we had our one-on-ones, and like, everybody's like giving different names and options. And I'm hearing everyone's like, I'm asking him because I hadn't had my one-on-one yet. Everyone's saying, yeah, I told him I was going after this. I told him I was going after this. I'm just like, bruh, this dude is not stupid. Like, it's just funny. When you're in the house, you'll get it. You're gonna be like, how can like people just like be like I was just like, he knows everyone would have been coming after him. That's the strongest team in the house, and their team is not untouched. And y'all told him y'all coming after somebody else, huh? How does that make sense? So when I had my one-on-one with him, I was like, look, Christian, my target was Whitney, but I was gonna put you up too. And I felt that I could because we didn't have a game relationship, and I just had to be honest with you. And that honesty saved me that week. Now, Christian might have said he was going to come for me the next week, but homeboy was like, hey, you know what? Everyone else BSing me, and you know what? I'll spare it. And I think that helped me a lot. It helped me a lot. I think I probably still came up in conversation, but that act and everyone else in the house knowing that act is what started to build that profile in the house that I was a honest person, and that came to be a very, very powerful currency that helped me get through this game. Which one that I'm happy about, you know? So yeah, that was that week. So that week, when I came in, we first had team one-on-ones and we had our one-on-one. In a team one-on-one, I had said, you know, yes, I had said that Whitney needs to go. I had also shared that with DX. I said that I did say for him to go for your team, but I said Whitney only. And then I shared that with Hannah as well too. Now, Hannah goes up on the block as well. I had told Tiffany that I did not trust Hannah due to, you know, I felt like Hannah was playing like a rat game a little bit. I don't want to call it a rat game because it sounds terrible. Like, I can't call it a rat game because I love Hannah. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to call it a rat game. But when people go back and forth, that's really hard for me to see. I don't know where your loyalties lie when that happens, you know? And I shared my nervousness amongst that with Tiffany. I want to also make clear my distrust of Hannah was not based off of race or her being half anything. I don't think that in the least at all. And those words never left my mouth. As far as I can recall, those words never, ever, ever left my mouth. I came to find, especially in the house and outside the house, how mature and I always say that. I bet she's just such a, honestly, very brilliant, incredible. So now we get to week 4. Week 4, now, the entire previous week, everybody had the Kings' names in their mouths. They were the only team that did not have someone go. Everybody had gotten a team member gone, and everybody was coming for the Kings that week. And then, the Kings won. Christian won. And I was like, crap, because I had not built any type of game relationship with Christian. I had not built any type of game relationship with Alyssa. I'd only built a game relationship with SB. And I had even told SB the week before, I was like, yo, my noms next week, I'm probably going to put up Christian and Whitney. So we had our one-on-ones, and like, everybody's like giving different names and options. And I'm hearing everyone's like, I'm asking him because I hadn't had my one-on-one yet. Everyone's saying, yeah, I told him I was going after this. I told him I was going after this. I'm just like, bruh, this dude is not stupid. Like, it's just funny. When you're in the house, you'll get it. You're going to be like, how can like people just like be like I was just like, he knows everyone would have been coming after him. That's the strongest team in the house, and their team is not untouched. And y'all told him y'all coming after somebody else, huh? How does that make sense? So when I had my one-on-one with him, I was like, look, Christian, my target was Whitney, but I was going to put you up too. And I felt that I could because we didn't have a game relationship, and I just had to be honest with you. And that honesty saved me that week. Now, Christian might have said he was going to come for me the next week, but homeboy was like, hey, you know what? Everyone else BSing me, and you know what? I'll spare it. And I think that helped me a lot. It helped me a lot. I think I probably still came up in conversation, but that act and everyone else in the house knowing that act is what started to build that profile in the house, that I was a honest person, and that came to be a very, very powerful currency that helped me get through this game. Now, Hannah goes up on the block as well. I had told Tiffany that I did not trust Hannah due to, you know, I felt like Hannah was playing like a rat game a little bit. I don't want to call it a rat game because it sounds terrible. Like, I can't call it a rat game because I love Hannah. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to call it a rat game. But when people go back and forth, that's really hard for me to see. I don't know where your loyalties lie when that happens, you know? And I shared my nervousness amongst that with Tiffany. I want to also make clear, if my distrust of Hannah was not based off of race or her being half anything. I don't think that in the least at all. And those words never left my mouth. As far as I can recall, those words never, ever, ever left my mouth. I came to find, especially in the house and outside the house, how mature and I always say that. She's just such a, honestly, very brilliant, incredible. I think that there was some, like I said, there was survivalist mentality for me with my relationship slipping with Tiffany. I could see Hannah and Tiffany getting closer, and I was like, dang, all right, well, I felt like the odd one out, you know what I'm saying? And I think I probably always tried to, I pushed as much as I could to put her there because I felt like I was there, if that makes sense. I knew I was at the bottom in the cookout. I knew that, you know, from me being shut out from a lot of conversations and things like that, I just kind of felt in a very stuck place. And I probably took those things and tried to put her there. You know, there's probably some projection in there, and I'll own up to that. But on the other hand, too, I had said this to Tiffany. I said, because I said, Hannah is smart, and that girl got a memory like this. And at the end competition, when it's about memory, I know that girl gonna beat me. And I was like, I thought she was gonna go out first because she's good at memory. So my bad on that, but yeah, I did say that. Okay, so moving on. Okay, so we're week 4. Hannah and Whitney go on the block. Whitney goes home. That's when, yeah, look, I own up to this. Me wanting Whitney out. I wanted Whitney out since week 1. Let me make that clear. Okay, 90% game, 10% petty. I own up to my shit. I own up to whatever. So I own it. I own up to my stuff, but it was 10% petty. The episode made it seem it was 90% petty, 10% game. No, it was not. It was mostly game. I wanted Whitney out since week 1. I'd said that to the cookout a lot since week 1 and 2 because I didn't know where her loyalties lie. As you guys can see, I like working or work well with people who are loyal, and I didn't know where her loyalties lie, which is why I felt that her and Brett needed to go. Stomach growling. So yeah, let me make that clear. All right. Okay, so week 4. All right, now we get to week 5. Week 5 is DX. Now, I was like literally placing bets because I'm like, all right, this is right before jury. I was like, Christian or Alyssa need to go because I don't talk game with them. I felt like I had a game relationship with everybody else in the house except those 2. And I was like, I knew that I had said Christian was going to, I had made a deal with Christian though. Christian said, if I don't put you up this week, can you not put us up next week? And I was like, cool. And I was going back and forth on whether I was going to honor that. I wasn't going to put up Christian, but if I had won, I would have put up probably Alyssa. But I wanted to honor that and not, but we had made that deal. If he planned to go back on it, I wouldn't know, I don't know. But that's the deal that we had made. On the wall, and then DX wins. And I was super happy. I have a good game relationship with DX. I know he's in alliances. I felt that because what you guys don't know is Kylan had actually week 4 or 5, sat me down and didn't tell me the name, but basically told me all the alliances and confirmed a lot of my suspicions that I had. So I at that time, I just never said it to anybody. I I didn't feel like that was information I needed to like what am I gonna do with that information, in my opinion? Like, okay, cool. I'm glad I know how this layout works and I know where these things lie. Thank you for that. It was good information for me to know. It was an effort of transparency on his part. And I was like, okay, cool, thank you. I know that. So I knew DX didn't have, I knew I wasn't aligned to DX, and I also, I'll make this clear, I didn't want to make alliances with DX, Claire, or SB, because I wanted to focus on my genuine relationship with them instead. I felt that when the time needed be, that could possibly be stronger than the alliance, because as you guys can see throughout the season, alliances break left and right, but genuine relationships with people are what make things so difficult and hard for people to actually make those decisions. So I purposely did not form any alliance with them. That's not me. Just because I didn't form an alliance doesn't mean that I'm not gaming. We would talk about game every week. I would talk to them about game, but I just didn't form an alliance with them because, number one, that could get back to me. Cookout members have already started an alliance with them. If it gets out to them that I start an alliance with them, how is that going to look in terms of the cookout? Especially me, who's already at the bottom. You guys get what I'm saying. So, but with my relationship with DX, he didn't even put me up as an option. I joked in the beginning, I was like, man, I don't even care what you do this week. Because we had talked last week and I knew that he wanted Christian out. And I was just like, great, cool, awesome, you know. But when I thought about it, when I got to my room, I was like, you shouldn't have said that. And then when he asked me in my one-on-one if I want to be a pawn, I was like, no, I ain't gonna be no pawn. I don't do that no more. Okay, so with that being said, and DX went ahead and I still don't know the full story on this, so you guys let me know. I knew DX wanted Christian out. DX puts up Brittany and SB. Now, up until that point, me and SB actually had a fairly good game relationship and a great genuine relationships too as well. Now, kind of had told me that SB was targeting Brittany, and I was like, oh, okay. So I was kind of like, kind of cagey and some things revolving that. And I saw Brittany being used as a pawn again, and in my head I was like, yo, they gonna keep on doing this. Like, that girl's gonna end up winning HOH, and when she sprays, we don't know where it's gonna hit. When she got on the block, what was funny was each time that Brittany cried, Brittany, I love you. Each time that Brittany cried, I'd always be like, okay, it's okay, you know. But Brittany went up on the block so much that by the time it be the third time she went up, like, I was just like, girl, you're not going home. Number one, I knew she wasn't gonna go home because I knew that, you know, that I knew DX wanted a king out that week. But it was just so funny because, no, when she had gotten up, this is what I mean. When she had cried before, everyone comforted her. But this one, she cried and no one comforted her this time. It was just, girl, calm down, it's okay. It's just funny. Brittany, you know I love you. Okay, so now DX had put up, like I said, I gotta tell you what's in my head. I still don't really understand this week. I don't know what was going on outside his house, but I see he put up SB and Brittany. I wanted Brittany to win that veto. At that point, I didn't even care if one of us went up. I knew that we could possibly go up, but I was like, the emotion in me got in the way, and I was like, no, Britt should win this. I'll let Britt win this, because everyone was pressuring Brittany to like throw it, and I'm just like, no, like, how you gonna tell somebody to throw? Like, that's her game. Like, that's her game. Like, what do you mean throw it? Why are you telling her to throw it? I was like, Brittany, nah, go for it. Go for that veto. Like, what do you mean you throw it? No. So she ended up winning. And I remember seeing like DX like going back and forth, like, oh my gosh. And I'm just like, I thought DX wanted to be a Christian, but whatever. Okay. But DX ended up putting Christian up when Brittany came down. And I was like, great, because I was like, I didn't have a relationship with Christian yet, you know what I'm saying? And between Christian and Alyssa, I was like, that's a power couple right there that can, when it comes, and probably take cookout members out down the block. So that joint needs to be split up before jury, most definitely, because they will ride for each other. Okay? So, he got up, he gets put up. Now, he gets put up but I could see the house was noticing that SB and Kylan's relationship was close. And I was worried because I was like, no, Christian needs to be the one to go, because I still felt that I had a better game relationship with SB than I felt with Christian when thinking about my personal game. I talked to SB and I was like, girl, you need to stop crying. I know it's hypocritical because I cry all the time, but like, you need to stop crying because you're painting a larger target on yourself. You should probably stop like hanging out with Kylan all the time too, because you're painting a larger target on yourself there too. And I kind of told that to Kylan as well. And in my head, I felt like I was doing what I could do to make sure the target left. Now, Christian approached me with a deal of, okay, if you keep me, I can probably win HOH next week, and you can do whatever you want and put up whomever you want, you know? But in my head, I'm like, I already feel like I have the friends that I would like, not the friends I would like, but the people whom I would like in jury that I feel could, you know, I've developed a relationship with them already. The only people I had the options of putting up would have been Christian and Alyssa. Now, me and Alyssa end up getting closer in jury, but I'm talking, this is pre-jury game. So I didn't want to go with that deal. Now, everyone else had, Big D and Brittany had told him yes. I had told him I don't know. And everyone kept on saying the vote lies within the Jokers. Now, that got me upset because I was like, no, it doesn't. The cookout is going to vote the way that and from 4-2, it was a 4-2 vote for Christian to go home. It being painted and made like the Jokers were the deciding vote did get me upset initially, because I'm like, that's not true. The Jokers aren't the deciding vote. That's not true. But actually, it actually ended up coming in my advantage, because as the game went later down the line, the Jokers were always, quote unquote, viewed in the outer house as the deciding vote. So